Chosen one, the next 48 hours are drawing a message toward you with a force you may not yet see. Listen, something remarkable has already begun its descent into your life. It hasn't taken shape in the visible realm just yet, but in the invisible currents weaving through existence, a signal has already left its source, moving steadily in your direction. These next 48 hours are anything but trivial. They are far more than minutes passing or numbers changing on a clock. They are thresholds of revelation, passageways of destiny, measured intervals pulsing with divine intention. There is a quiet murmur surrounding you, carrying a sacred code. You might not have caught it with human hearing, but your spirit has been sensing its nearness. Something marked with your essence is on its way. Not a vague whisper, not an uncertain dream, but a living message, chosen and prepared to find you, stir you, and call your identity back into clarity. Stay with this video until its final breath. Let your heart loosen, widen, receive, and leave your warm wish in the comments, adding amen beside the number 99. These coming 48 hours are not only designed to bring something to you, but to awaken your response, to activate what has been dormant, to release light outward. Speak your desire and feel the universe rearranging itself around your intention. What you declare in faith travels beyond this screen. It reaches the dimension where miracles shape themselves. Now, chosen soul, like this message, subscribe if you haven't yet aligned with this channel. Exhale, settle in, and let us begin. These next 48 hours have never been random. They were appointed. Something larger than your thoughts, older than your worries, has been observing your path, not to control you, but to synchronize you, not to pressure you, but to lift what has been heavy, not to restrict you, but to unseal every place where truth has slept beneath wounds, silence, or delay. God has allowed time to flow with a rhythm that feels hidden at moments, overwhelming at others, but always intentional. And within that rhythm, a new signal has been released. It isn't appearing only through external moments. It is woven into the very atmosphere you've been moving through. You've felt the shift. You've noticed the unsettled sensations. You've watched people drift without explanation or felt emotions rise without reason. That's because you've stepped into a prophetic corridor. Not everyone sees it. Not everyone senses it. But you do. And that awareness is not accidental. That is spiritual sensitivity. Something ancient inside you is stirring again, far deeper than language, far louder than sound. It is the awareness that something meaningful is nearing, not because of your actions or failures, but because of your nature. Your spirit was chosen long before your name was spoken, and now these next 48 hours are calling that spirit to rise again, to receive, to witness, to align. A message is forming for you, a message that does not travel through ordinary pathways. It won't arrive in a notification or a written paragraph. It will appear in moments that seem gentle but carry the weight of heaven's design. It might be a stranger's unexpected kindness, a phrase that echoes in your mind long after silence has returned, a dream that follows you into daylight, a clarity that lands in the middle of a conversation, a still pause that interrupts your routine. These are not chances. They are spiritual transmissions. They hold codes, confirmations, awakenings. And here is the truth you must not forget. God is never careless with timing. If the message is approaching now, it is because this moment is ripe. The soil of your journey is finally ready. This has nothing to do with haste. It has everything to do with alignment. Yes, you have faced delays. Yes, detours found you. You have doubted, cried, wanted to let go, but all of that carved the exact space this message needed. What's coming now could never have landed in the version of you from 6 months ago. What's approaching would have slipped past you 2 years ago. You had to pass through certain shadows so that when this light arrives, you're not blinded. You're able to receive it, absorb it, carry it. The next 48 hours are woven with divine timing, nothing rushed. Nothing forced, only precision. It's not about doing more. It's about perceiving more, noticing, listening, feeling. Because when God speaks, it's rarely in thunder. It is in stillness. When heaven moves, the world may not hear it. Sometimes it disguises itself as silence that demands your attention. And in these next 48 hours, that silence will speak. It will pour itself into the empty corners, the unanswered places, the hidden wounds only God has tended, the spaces quietly begging for breakthrough. There are mysteries about your future locked behind forgotten emotions, old hurts that became gateways, pain that quietly transformed into prophecy. God is about to lay a hand on those covered places, not to reveal your weakness but to raise your strength, not to shake your life apart, but to shake loose the lies that tried to confine you. You were never created to live below your inheritance. You were never designed to exist in spiritual scarcity. You belong to something eternal. You are written into a divine storyline. And when it is time for a new chapter, God does not ask permission. He shifts realms, opens paths, and sends messages straight into the soul that is prepared. And you are prepared. You might not feel ready by human standards. You may still feel uncertain. You may still be healing. You may still be searching for your place in the vastness of everything. But spiritually, you have been marked. That marking carries influence in the unseen. That is why your journey has been different. That is why you have been misunderstood. That is why you walked alone in seasons that should have crushed you, but instead, they created strength. The message coming is not simply comfort. It is confirmation, a reminder that none of this was wasted. Within these next 48 hours, a shift is approaching, not loud, not dramatic, but sacred. It will arrive like gentle waves, quiet yet unmistakable. The air is alive. The veil is thin. The timing is holy. This moment was preserved for your awakening, your alignment, your clarity. Even if the world rings with noise and confusion, there is a center within you where God is placing this revelation. And when it lands, something will rearrange. You will sense it. You will recognize it. You do not need to pursue it. You do not need to force it. You only need to honor its arrival. The moments that will reshape you may come draped in ordinary clothing. A look that lingers a heartbeat too long. A thought that refuses to leave. A sudden stillness in the middle of motion. These are not coincidences. These are alignments. The spiritual realm does not depend on spectacle to make its imprint. It speaks through intuition, through subtlety, through presence. And when this message touches your awareness, it will not seek permission. It will arrive complete because its sender is God and its timing is consecrated. Something is about to become undeniably clear, not through logic but through the deep clarity of spirit. It will feel like a curtain lifting, like remembering something ancient your soul has always known. This kind of clarity does not appear often. It is reserved for chosen moments. It manifests only when preparation ripens into readiness. And you are entering that readiness now. Not because everything is in order, but because the purpose is too immense to wait any longer. In the silence you've survived, in the loneliness that wrapped itself around you, something rare was forming, a strength that never needed applause, an inner knowing that never needed approval, a wisdom born from walking through storms invisible to others. The message approaching you will not be mere words. It will be a transformation in perception, how you see yourself, your purpose, your path. Every delay, every closed door, every repeated pattern, they were not punishment. They were shaping you. You were never abandoned. You were being readied for a calling that could not be accelerated. You carry something ancient, rare, chosen. The message of these next 48 hours will remind you of it. Not through information, but through revelation. Information reaches the mind. Revelation rewrites the soul. You are not here for a fleeting emotional moment. You are here to remember something eternal. That remembrance will realign you with the resonance of destiny. It will awaken you to the true magnitude of your power. Not the power granted by humans, but the one God placed within you from the beginning. It rises in quiet rhythms, gentle, holy, impossible to misinterpret. The atmosphere feels alive. The barrier between realms feels lighter. The hour itself feels consecrated. This instant was kept aside for your awakening, your alignment, your unfolding awareness. And even while the world outside appears noisy, tangled, overwhelming, there remains a silent center inside your being, where the divine sets this message down, and when it arrives, something within you shifts. You'll sense it. You'll recognize it. You won't have to reach for it. You won't need to chase after it. You simply need to welcome its coming. The experiences that will shape you in the next 48 hours may appear dressed as the ordinary, a look that lingers longer than you expect, a thought refusing to fade, a pause of stillness while everything around you continues in motion. None of these are accidents. They are alignments. The unseen realm has no need for spectacle to leave its imprint. It speaks through resonance, through intuition, through presence. And when that message brushes your awareness, it won't request your permission. It will arrive whole, complete, unaltered, because the one who sends it is divine and the timing is sacred. There is something preparing to unfold with striking clarity within you, not through reasoning, but through the purity of knowing. It will feel like a curtain lifting, like recalling something you didn't realize you had forgotten. Such clarity is rare. It is reserved. It only appears when preparation has ripened into readiness. And you are stepping into that readiness now. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because the purpose is far too expansive to wait any longer. In the silence you've carried, in the solitude that wrapped itself around your path, something precious has been forming. A strength that required no applause, a truth that needed no external echo, a wisdom shaped from walking roads few ever recognized. The message approaching you will not come merely as words. It will arrive as a shift in perception, a shift in how you see your own existence, how you interpret the reason your soul chose this life, how you view the ground you've already crossed. Every strange occurrence, every delayed doorway, every pattern reappearing again and again, none of it was punishment. All of it was preparation. You were never forgotten. You were being shaped for a calling that refused to be rushed. There is something within you that is rare, ancient, and undeniably chosen. The message carried by these next 48 hours will remind you of that truth. Not through information, but through revelation. The difference matters. Information touches the mind. Revelation rearranges the soul. You are not here for a fleeting emotional spark. You're here to remember something eternal. That remembrance will recalibrate your spirit to the frequency of destiny. It will wake you to the magnitude of the power within you. Not the power granted by people, but the power inscribed by God. And here lies the wondrous mystery in all of this. The message approaching you is not meant for you alone. Yes, it will nourish you. It will stir you. It will empower you. But it is also meant to flow through you. It was designed to travel beyond your own experience. You were chosen not simply to receive light, but to transmit it, to reflect it, to carry it toward the places waiting in shadow. Your journey has felt solitary at times, but that solitude was sacred. Not everyone was meant to walk beside you, not because you were unworthy of companionship, but because your calling required consecration. Your voice needed to remain unaltered. Your vision had to stay undisturbed. You could not afford to be shaped by noise while you were being prepared to carry truth. And so now, as the coming hours open before you, stay present, attentive, attuned. What's about to arrive may not show up in the form you expect. It may come without spectacle, without trumpets, without dazzling signs, but it will carry weight. It will speak to the part of you that has been quiet yet attentive, the part of you that has been watching from within, patiently waiting for confirmation. You've been asking questions in the silence of your heart, sometimes without shaping them into words. You've been wondering if what you feel stirring is real, if the sense of something immense approaching is just imagination. The message drawing near will settle that doubt, not by offering logical answers, but by awakening the memory you carried long before this moment. You will recognize it not as something new, but as something returning, like an ancient truth stepping out of the mist. This moment has been on its way to you for longer than you know. It was woven into your path before you ever walked it. God never misplaced you. He never overlooked you. He never passed you by. You were not forgotten. You were shielded. You were not denied. You were delayed long enough for your spirit to rise into full agreement with what is coming. You will not miss this. You will not be bypassed. You will not be muted. Because you are exactly the one this message was crafted for. Not the flawless one, not the loudest one, not the one who always chose correctly, but the one who endured, the one who stayed faithful when clarity was absent, the one who kept moving when it would have been easier to stop, the one who kept listening for God's whisper even while others rushed ahead. This message was set aside for a precise moment, not merely to awaken you, but to unseal you, because the era of holding yourself back is dissolving. The era of hiding your depth, shrinking your essence, dimming your radiance, it's ending. The world is shifting, and your presence in that shift matters. You are not here by coincidence. You are here by orchestration. And the next 48 hours hold the code to the next stage of your assignment. As you move through these hours, certain signs will unfold, not to impress you, but to guide you. Pay attention. A name may echo more than once. A melody may play at an exact moment you needed it. A dream may come with clarity you've never tasted before. These are not random. They are woven. They are threads from the same divine fabric. They will all point to one truth. The divine has chosen this moment to breathe into your identity, your circumstance, your purpose. This message will not chase you. It will stand still and wait for you to step into recognition. And once you enter its frequency, something inside you will recognize its resonance. You will feel peace without searching for proof. You will feel joy without knowing the reason. You will feel a calm readiness rising in your body, as though it has been waiting there for years, because it has. God has been waiting for you to reach the timing He designed, not because you were behind, but because certain revelations cannot be hurried. Certain breakthroughs require maturity, not the maturity of age, but of spirit. You have arrived at that maturity now, and the message knows exactly where to find you. Something sacred is already unfolding. Even if your external world looks still, beneath the quiet movement has begun. The message coming toward you does not need permission from circumstance to reach you. It has already passed through the highest authority. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can cancel it. Nothing can delay it now. The timing is fixed. The sender is divine. The message is clear, and you are the one chosen to receive it. Because God knows you are finally strong enough to hold what it unveils. The patterns of the last 48 hours, and the ones showing themselves now, carry traces of the unseen. You may notice repetition, unexpected synchronicity, emotions stirring deeply, or a surge of energy appearing without reason. These are confirmations, invisible signatures along the map of your destiny. You are not imagining things. You are being aligned. This is not spiritual noise. It is a signal. This is not fleeting inspiration. It is instruction. You are being reached not merely to feel uplifted, but to be positioned correctly. What approaches you is not a message in the ordinary sense. It is not about hearing something new. It is about remembering something timeless. This message is intimately personal, because it is something your spirit has carried as a seed long before you ever had the language to name it. That's why certain moments have always stirred a hidden pulse inside you. That's why you never settled into the molds others offered you. That's why comfort felt foreign in places where everyone else found belonging. You weren't resisting life. You were remembering a truth your spirit hadn't yet found the language to express. In the next 48 hours, that memory rises to the surface. It becomes tangible. It becomes undeniable. Don't be surprised if feelings move through you without warning. Don't be surprised if something inside you loosens, like an inner barrier softening that you didn't even know existed. That's the revelation entering. That's how it feels when clarity dissolves static. That's how it feels when light steps back into a soul that has spent years trying to see through shadows. This message doesn't arrive to pressure you. It arrives to release what was already living within you. It carries a tone older than vocabulary, a vibration older than sound, a strength older than time. When it settles into your awareness, it doesn't create anything new. It reawakens what has been resting quietly, not lost, not gone, just sleeping beneath the noise of the world. And now that heaviness is lifting, there is something unmistakable about this moment. There is a purity rising, a calm that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something sacred is unfolding. Stillness is often mistaken for emptiness, but spiritually, stillness is focus. It's the pause before a revelation, the breath before a shift, the hush before the unseen becomes visible. You are standing inside that holy quiet now. The message is almost complete, and it will not arrive by itself. When this message anchors, doors around you will begin to unfasten themselves. Doors that seemed blocked, sealed, or hidden in plain sight. Suddenly, clarity will approach you. Direction will unfold. Solutions you abandoned will float back into view. This isn't imagination. It's divine alignment. God doesn't send isolated messages. He sends messages that transform whatever they touch. And when this one reaches its mark, it will ripple into your environment, your connections, your thoughts, your decisions. Nothing can interrupt the arrival of something spiritually appointed. And this has been appointed for now. That's why so much has felt unstable. That's why distractions tried to blur your focus. That's why unexpected challenges surface to test your awareness. Because confusion always tries to arrive when revelation is near. And confusion is the enemy of clarity. But God permitted only what would strengthen you. Even the confusion, even the slowness, even the disorder sharpened you. It stretched your intuition. It taught you to listen beneath the noise. And now you're sensing things not through your ears, but through your spirit. In these next hours, you will notice the shift unfolding. Not because anyone announces it, but because the atmosphere itself behaves differently around you. It's as if time bends softly. What once seemed distant begins to feel near. What felt unreachable suddenly feels possible. The spiritual timeline is adjusting itself to the readiness within you. And now that you are open, it arrives with momentum. This message was never meant to land in a version of you that doubted your own worth. That's why it took its time. It wasn't delay. It was precision. The version of you that stands here now, the one who has survived loss, practiced silence, mastered patience, endured rejection, walked through confusion. That is the version this message required. That is the version capable of receiving it without distortion. You are no longer searching for validation. You are no longer waiting for approval. You are standing still, not in fragility, but in sacred expectancy. Your spirit recognizes that this timing is rare. Your body may feel heavy. Your mind may feel tired, but your soul is fully awake. And heaven responds to that. Heaven knows that level of awareness. That is why this message is reaching you now. What arrives to you is not an ending. It is an initiation. It is the type of message that ushers a chosen one into the next chapter. Not through noise, not through spectacle, but through the subtle ignition of truth. The truth that you are greater than your history. The truth that your presence here was crafted with intention. The truth that what you thought was broken was actually blessed. And now you're stepping into a moment that was written by God Himself. No person can interfere. No darkness can intercept it. No fear can erase it. The light entering your life is not borrowed. It is your own, and now it returns. There is something powerful about a message that has been journeying toward you longer than you have been seeking it. A message shaped not as a reaction to your pain, but as recognition of your courage. This is that message. It wasn't formed in chaos. It was shaped in the quiet realms beyond time, where nothing is rushed and everything is complete. And now it comes forward, not because your world has become calm, but because your inner world has awakened enough to receive what was yours all along. The next 48 hours are not a countdown. They are an opening. A window in the spiritual landscape, where truth rises and reality shifts its shape. It's not about watching minutes pass. It's about noticing yourself changing, because within this sacred frame, you are not simply waiting. You are becoming. Even now, as you listen, as you breathe, something around you is recalibrating. It's aligning itself with the signal being transmitted directly into your spirit. And this signal doesn't communicate through phrases. It communicates through intuitive flashes, through sudden recognition, through awareness that cuts straight through mental clutter and reaches the deepest part of you. That's why things may feel unusual, why you might drift off into silence without knowing why you sense something approaching, even though you cannot name it yet. Your spiritual system is translating something that has almost arrived but has not fully touched down. It's hovering, circling, preparing to merge with your reality. The membrane between the unseen and the seen is thinning. You cannot force the moment. You cannot predict the exact instant it will make contact. But the moment it does, you will know. And when it does, your reality will shift. Not necessarily with outward spectacle, though that may come in time, but inwardly. Inside, you will feel the message, root itself within the soil of your awareness. Like a seed returning to its rightful home. It will not demand, it will declare. It will declare who you have always been beneath the fear, beneath the doubt, beneath the ache. It will confirm the truths you sensed, but hesitated to speak. It will quiet the questions that have lingered for years, not through arguments, but through presence. It will radiate with such sacred certainty that everything false loses its grip. This message isn't coming to flatter you. It's coming to affirm you, to affirm your direction, your strength, your essence. You've been uncertain, not because of weakness, but because transition clouds the inner vision, and now the fog is dissolving. You are stepping into a clearing you didn't realize you were approaching. And when you stand there surrounded by a silence that feels holy instead of heavy, you will understand this journey was never about waiting for a sign. It was about becoming the soul that could recognize one. And you have become that. Where you once doubted your intuition, you now feel the alignment without needing proof. You recognize divine communication not because circumstances support it, but because your inner world is calm enough to hear it. The next 48 hours are a canvas prepared by heaven itself. What unfolds across them will not be random. It will be deliberate. Every emotion, every encounter, every pause, even the setbacks, are strokes of the design. You are being placed in front of a vision you could not have understood before. It is not merely a response to your questions. It is a map, a spiritual outline of what lies ahead. You will not receive every detail, but you will receive enough. Enough to walk forward with certainty. Enough to know you are guided. Enough to trust without trembling. This message brings more than understanding. It brings inheritance. You are not just being informed. That means what lives inside you is being stirred, illuminated, set into motion. Your intuition, your calling, your inner wisdom, your spiritual gifts, they are being reignited in a way that cannot be reversed. This is permanent activation. Once this message lands, you will not return to who you were. Because this message is not simply speaking to you. It is resurrecting something ancient within you. And as it rises, you will feel things falling away quietly, softly, completely. Fear will loosen. Comparison will crumble. The urge to prove, to chase, to earn, to make yourself worthy, it will unravel. These are not moods. They are spiritual shifts. Every false layer that falls away makes you lighter. And every layer of lightness brings you closer to the version of yourself encoded in heaven. The version that remembered before it learned. The version that saw before anything clouded its sight. The version of you standing in this moment is the very one this unfolding message has been seeking, because it has always been destined for the self you are now stepping into. You didn't come here to walk in circles or echo the patterns that once trapped you. You came here to finish what your spirit began long before your mind caught up. You didn't come to pursue illusions that were never aligned with your essence. You came to finally recognize what has lived inside your truth since the beginning. And this message arrives as the quiet signal that the time has shifted, not later, not eventually, but now. As each hour moves forward, don't go searching outside for proof. Turn inward where presence speaks without noise. When something trembles deep in your center, honor it. When your heartbeat changes at the sound of certain words or the appearance of subtle signs, don't brush it away. You are not imagining a thing. You are receiving what has been waiting to reach you. This timing is not speculation. It is certainty. These hours are sacred, not because they are holier than the rest, but because they have been prepared in ways other moments have not. You've stepped into a space creation itself has been waiting to open for you, and everything around you senses the shift in your readiness. You were never designed to wander outside your divine rhythm. What rises within you now, the sensation stirring through these hours, is not just expectation. It is resonance. It's the frequency of something meant to find you exactly where your spirit stands now. The message moving closer is not searching for your location. It has always known. It has never been lost. It has never been delayed. It simply waited for your openness to replace your resistance. And now that inner resistance has finally loosened its grip. You may not have felt the precise moment the shift took root, but now it's unmistakable. You are not who you were even days ago. Old defenses are crumbling. Inner barriers are softening. You are no longer bracing for impact. You are preparing for entrance. And the deeper this message travels, the more it stirs the unseen layers of your existence. That is why, as these hours pass, you might find yourself emotionally tilted, not broken, not fragile, but standing at the threshold of something immense. Your entire being is responding to what your eyes have not witnessed yet, though you are already touching it from within. This is how divine communication works. It reaches your spirit before your senses catch up. And right now, your spirit is brushing up against something eternal. This is why this time feels charged. Why the simplest moments suddenly feel heavier, fuller, more alive. You are not misinterpreting. You are perceiving what many overlook. And that very perception is what separates the awakened from the unaware. This sacred window calls you inward, not to retreat from the world, but to prepare to step into it with a heightened awareness. The world you once knew was limited by the narratives handed to you by others. But this message carries the strength to rewrite that entire storyline. It shifts not just what lies ahead, but transforms the meaning of what lies behind. It reframes your losses. It reframes your betrayals. It reframes the moments of silence. Because this message was not only crafted in the divine, it was hidden inside the very wounds you tried to forget. It lived in the places you assumed were empty. It breathed in the cracks, in the quiet nights, in the moments when you said nothing yet heaven heard all. And now it rises. It rises not merely to show you what is next, but to reveal that every step you've taken has led to this point. The regrets, the forgotten years. The seasons you feared were wasted. They were not fruitless chapters. They were the invisible architecture beneath everything being built now. The message that approaches you comes to stand upon those very foundations. And because of what you've survived, it will not appear as a whisper that evaporates. It will arrive as truth that anchors itself deep into your being. And once it roots itself, it becomes more than a moment. It becomes momentum. Soon you'll notice how your thought patterns begin to shift, not because you're trying to force optimism, but because something within has changed its form. Questions you once wrestled with may no longer require answers. Some will fade into clarity. Some will lose their weight. Some will dissolve altogether, replaced by a knowing that doesn't need language. Knowing shows up as calm. It silences the pressure to constantly prove yourself. It ends the endless search for reassurance. It brings a stillness to your inner world like a lake settling after a long storm. And you are stepping into that stillness now. It is not the absence of motion. It is the presence of unmistakable clarity. As that clarity expands, a part of you begins to return, an older part. A wiser part, the one that carried courage, direction, and instinctive truth. These qualities were always yours. They merely went dormant while your spirit cracked open under the strain of pretending. But now there is no pretending left in you. You are no longer seeking validation from those who could never fully understand your design. You are no longer waiting for permission to trust what your soul already knows. That certainty is evidence that the message is merging with your identity. And when its arrival is complete and that moment approaches, you will feel the weight of the past lifting from your shoulders. It may happen quietly or all at once, but when it rises off you, it will not return. The burdens you carried were never meant to stay with you forever. You held them only until the meaning they contained could be revealed. And now that understanding is coming into your grasp. This understanding is not only for comfort, it is for empowerment. You are not being soothed merely to become still. You are being awakened so you can move with intention, choose with clarity, and walk your path not from fear of missteps, but from the unwavering sense that your journey has aligned with divine trajectory. This alignment is sacred. It cannot be earned. It can only be remembered. And the message reaching you is the memory you've been seeking beneath all the noise. Your intuition is rising to meet this moment. Your senses are stretching beyond what is visible. You are beginning to feel not only guided, but accompanied, not in fear, but in reassurance. You are sensing that you do not walk alone. That is not fantasy. That is recognition. That is the feeling of heaven preparing your steps. You are being prepared not just to receive what comes next, but to respond to it. Because what approaches is not meant only for your healing, it is tied to your purpose. This message marks a turning point, and the landscape beyond it will not resemble what came before. You are standing at the edge of something sacred. You do not need to push. You do not need to prove. You have already been chosen. You have already been affirmed. The message descending into your spirit comes as a divine declaration, not merely announcing what lies ahead, but revealing the truth of who you are. It will clarify the silence. It will illuminate the strange seasons. It will bring closure without conflict. It will unlock new paths without pressure. And when it settles, you will realize that throughout all of this, you were never stalled. You were being aligned.